Hi friends, it's Lisa Hetrick, illustrator for Gina K Designs, and I'm so grateful you could join me today. I have a really fun floral card to share with you today that is going to have a few techniques, but super simple to create without adding a lot of height and layer to your card project. And I'm going to really be focusing on creating layers with stencils and the two-step stamping technique. So let's take a quick look at the supplies and go ahead and get started. I'm going to be using Woodland Whimsy, my new stamp set with Gina K, and I'm going to use some of the bits and baubles here and the two-step stamping florals. Here are the inks that I'm going to be using, and they're also listed below. So I've got a combination of greens, pinks, and yellows. And I'm using the Gina K Designs layering white cardstock, and I'm also using the innocent pink cardstock. And all of the supplies, again, will be listed below with the sizes as well. I've got a handful of Gina K stencils here because I really couldn't decide which stencil I wanted to go with. The original design used the Snowfall, which has that wonky polka, but I'm really thinking about using this stencil. It's called Heartfelt. So I've got some pixie spray here, the Thermoweb pixie spray, and I have it on the back of the stencil just to make it a little bit tacky. I've got some scissors, my glue, adhesives, foam squares, and I'm going to use these new sequins called Disco Ball from Gina K Designs, and I've got some crystalline drops here from Gina K that I'm going to be using as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started on the stamping. So I'm going to pull these two florals from the Woodland Whimsy set, and I've got this two-step stamping process that we're going to do. I've got the new Comfort Grip block from Gina K, and I am loving it. So we've got a combination of two colors here. I'm going to stamp the floral, the solid floral, in the sweet corn, and I love that Comfort Grip handle on this block. I can't believe I waited so long to get it, but now I've got it, so I'm good. Okay, so I've got the wild dandelion here, and I'm lining it up a little bit. It's kind of a little bit wonky. So the two shades here between the wild dandelion and the sweet corn are very subtle. And I really want them to be subtle because our main image is going to be the focal point. So I'm just inking up the next set of embellishments, and this is just the leaf element. That's the two leaves that are together. And I'm inking it up with the grass green. So I'm going to do my leaf and leafy elements here in the grass green and the jelly bean green. So I've got both of the next elements on the block together, and I'm just going to ink them up in the jelly bean green and stamp them down. I'm just stamping all of the images down on this piece of layering white cardstock, and I am going to fussy cut these images out. So I'm just giving myself a little room around each of the stamped elements so that I can get my scissors around it. I'm using the innocent pink here and the passionate pink. So I'm just getting a light and a dark pink between these two floral elements as well. And I realized I forgot to go back and stamp the focal point image. So I've got the flower in the two pinks here. So I've got innocent pink, and I'm going to do a little over stamping here, two-step stamping with the passionate pink. Okay, so let's move on to the embellishments and stenciling. So I cut out all of the stamped embellishments, and don't they look pretty? So all of our embellishments are done. It's time to move on to the stenciled layer. I was really having a hard time deciding which stencil I wanted to use, but I did finally decide on using the Heartfelt stencil. I really kind of went back and forth and tried all of these different stencils because I wanted to get a different effect. And that wonky polka that is in the Snowfall stencil really was calling me. But I ended up going with this Heartfelt, these beautiful, cute little petite hearts that are just adorable. And we're going to be concentrating the passionate pink color in a circle in the center here. So I thought it would just be a really nice element for the card. So I'm just using my blending tool here, my picket fence blending tool, and I'm just going around gently in a circle with that passionate pink color. I don't really want it to be intense, so some areas of the stencil are a little more intense than others, but I really wanted to get that outer edge to be very, very soft. So to get a good feel as to whether or not I like this stencil and this layered look with the embellishments, I'm just kind of putting the embellishments down to see if I like it, and I really do like it. Okay, so now we're just going to pull it all together by layering the embellished elements over top this stencil layer. What I really, really like about the techniques here is that they're very simple to do, stenciling and using your stamps to create embellishments. They add a lot of extra texture and dimension to the card without adding a lot of height. So I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to the back of these embellishments and just kind of glue them down and play around with the composition of this card. But the heart stencil that's underneath the elements that I'm layering on top just adds a little bit of extra whimsy. And I'm going to use these foam squares from Gina K Designs just to pop that center floral piece. These foam squares don't add an intense amount of height, which is really, really nice, which I really love. So you can see there isn't a ton of height to this card, but there's lots and lots of extra texture and dimension. So I'm just adding a little bit more glue and just popping these embellishments in and layering them up underneath the floral images here, just to kind of create this floral spray composition right here in the center of the card. The colors all kind of come together. They're very complementary to each other. The two yellows, the two purples, and the two greens, they really come together really nicely, and it kind of gives it this nice flavor of a spring card, and we're all craving spring right now. So I'm kind of digging the way this is all coming together. Super simple, and I'm just loving it. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to some of the finishing touches. Now, normally I don't add a lot of finishing touches, but I really wanted to try these new sequins from Gina K. And this set of sequins is called Disco Ball. So it has a lot of reflective quality to it. And the sequins are a lot smaller too than what I'm used to working with. So they're really easy to get onto the card. So I just put a couple dots of glue around the card just to kind of create a little bit of extra whimsy. And I'm using my jewel picker here and just dropping in the sequins. And the disco ball sequins really kind of reflect the light. They don't take away from the stamped images, but they create a little bit of extra whimsy for it. And I'm just digging it. I love it. Okay, so I'm just adding another little dot here so that I can add one more sequin just right here at the top. Now, I also have the new crystal drops here, and I'm just going to drop that into the center, and I've got some Nouveau drops here as well, yellow, to drop into the yellow flowers. And I'm really loving the way this card came out. It's got a lot of texture and dimension, but not a lot of height. It's really whimsical, and I just love the difference between the two cards by changing it up by using a different stencil. This card came together so quickly, and adding the little bit of sequins and some of the drops just really give it a little bit of extra whimsy. The two-step stamping and the stenciling just kind of bring it all home. I hope you enjoyed today's card tutorial. It was so much fun to share it with you. Thanks so much for watching. Please consider sharing the joy by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. And I'm sharing more card and watercolor tutorial videos for your inspiration right here. So come on in and take a peek at my tutorials. I have a lot to share, and I'll see you next time.